Hello, nerds. We have our backdrop back. Yay, backdrop. So I don't know if I'm going to have the time to do the proper edit so we get all the things right here. Or right here. Yeah, it was right here. I don't remember. That's how long it's been since I've been able to do a full and proper video edit on these things because I just have so much other stuff going on. And a day job, and the day job really gets in the way, but it pays the bills, right? So anyway, rambling, this is the news show. We are talking Week in Nerdom. I am generally nerdy, and this is an intro. All right, housekeeping is, I guess we're going to get into parts of housekeeping or whatever. No real housekeeping. Let's just skip that part. We're going to go right into music. We actually only have one thing to talk about in music, and that is this letter that I'm going to try and make sure I get this right. The National Independent Venue Association. So all of the independent music venues got together and wrote a letter to Congress. And then they had over 600 music artists sign the letter that they then addressed again to Congress. And on that, of those signatories, of the people who signed this, we have the likes of Trent Reznor, David Grohl, Ozzy Osbourne. There's like a bunch of huge acts signed this. And basically, the letter says that Congress should do something. Great with the answers, guys. Congress should do something to help keep local music venues open because a recent study showed that approximately 90% of all locally owned music venues were not going to make it through the quarantine shutdown. Yes, 90%. That is a lot of businesses that are going to get shut down. Kind of. If you look at it on a surface level, that is absolutely 100% true. But all of these venues are not going away. Sure, some of them will get bought by somebody else who doesn't want to have a music venue, so it will get gutted or torn down or changed somehow so it is no longer a music venue. Yes, that will happen to a small percentage of these venues, but there will never not be music venues. It is highly unfortunate if someone has to close their business. I hate when that happens. That is not the way you want to run a country. However, it's difficult for me to get behind something that has taxpayers who are already overworked right now as far as paying their taxes goes anyway because of their issues with quarantine. It's hard for me to get behind something that asks for taxpayers to pay for something that they're not going to be able to use until we're out of all of these lockdown restrictions. So I feel like a better way for these artists, especially the 1%, the quote-unquote 1% of those artists, the likes of Dave Grohl, Trent Reznor, Ozzy Osbourne, they could have created a fund that then dispersed money to the NIVA, and that could have been what they did to keep local venues open instead of pandering to the government and saying, hey, you need to give these taxpayers money to people who are also paying taxes, so really you're giving them their money back. It's just, I can't get behind this. It's too much. I'm going to go off on a rant. We're not going to be talking about that kind of news here, but man, it would have been a better thing to do for the very wealthy artists on this list who are still making money during quarantine. Let's not be shy about saying that. All of these artists are still streaming their music, which means they are still making revenue from their music at the very least. So, and downloads are happening. YouTube is still available, obviously, because you're here with me. Artists are still making money. And the very high up artists are still making a lot of money. So for them to donate a couple million between the 600 of them, granted, not all 600 of them are the quote-unquote 1% of rock and roll. But for even if you had 200, if you had 200 artists, assuming there is approximately 200 artists on this list that could do this without really having an issue with it, the likes of Dave Grohl and so on and so forth. If you had 200 of these 600 artists put in $1 million, you have $200 million to keep local venues open. That is so much more than we would ever get from the government for this, because it is not the government's job to subsidize art. It is the people's job to pay for art. So if the artists want to keep this art going, then they can reinvest in their art. Oh man. Okay. So yeah, that is, and then the other half of this is, yes, unfortunately, very likely a lot of venues are going to shut down. But like I said at the beginning, not all of those venues are going to disappear. They're physically going to still exist. So once everything gets back up and running, somebody is going to buy that venue, or the person who technically still owns it but couldn't pay for it is going to start paying for it again, and it's going to become a venue again. So I just don't see this proposition going well. And I think that's the biggest part of that. So that's what I'm talking about there. That's all we have in music. Now let's talk about TV streaming. We're going to get more nerdy. All right, here we go. So first and foremost, super nerd power, we have Obiwan in the news. Ewan McGregor was recently talking to, let me see, ACE Universe, which is a website, podcast thing. He's talking to them about the production and how things are going to be going, because I don't believe they're currently in active production. They're still ironing out scripts from the last we heard, but he does know that they're going to be using the same tech they used in The Mandalorian as far as the quote-unquote on-location shots. So all of those backdrops, those dynamic backdrops and all that jazz, that is going to happen on this show, and that is freaking awesome because that tech is amazing. So there's that. The next piece of music is Hanna Season 2. Just got a trailer, so real quick piece. Go check the link in the description, show notes, whatever. Go check that link, see the Season 2. I'm going to try and do a session of review or reaction videos that's dealing with some of these trailers that we're getting, because there's been a few of them over the last couple of weeks. So, yes, that's exciting, but not a whole lot to reveal about Season 2, so we're moving on. Next, we're talking about a really big piece of news, actually, in the nerd community. What with quarantine and all, we are not getting many of our Comic-Cons this year. Very specifically, we're not getting San Diego Comic-Con, at least in its proper form. It is a quote-unquote digital-only version. I don't know how exactly that's going to work out, but apparently DC will have none of it. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but DC is doing their own thing. FanDome is what they're calling it. The DC FanDome. So D-O-M-E, right? So www.dcfandome, DCFANDOME.com. That is the place to go see the DC Comic Convention. So August 22nd is the day that DC is going to be doing this. And reportedly, only during August 22nd will any of this content be available to the public. So it sounds like all of the things we would be getting at Comic-Con, so presumably what they were going to go to San Diego with and what they were going to go to New York with, all of these things are going to be happening direct to us, the nerd consumers, and we are going to be seeing the full trailer, because there was a new trailer for the Snyder Cut released very recently. So we're going to get another trailer or some behind the scenes or something for the Snyder Cut. There's so much stuff planned. Like I couldn't even write down half of it. So I just kind of was overwhelmed and didn't write down any of it. But you can go check out fandome.com, DCFandome.com rather. It sounds like they're not going to be giving any content to San Diego Comic-Con's digital release. That could be, I could be mistaken on that. I just didn't see anything on the San Diego news release that said, hey, we're also going to have content from these guys, and these guys. So really huge. I mean, we're going to be watching trailers. We're going to be seeing movies. There's going to be panel discussions. It is legitimately, and like they have a map for the digital space. looks really cool, looks very much like a comic book convention. And I'm super excited about it. That's all we've got, though. Now we're moving into movies news, and we have first some more shuffling about of movie release dates. We have James Bond, No Time to Die, got moved forward, so not a move back, but moved forward 5 days to August 20th of this year, so that's a big bonus. We got Jurassic World Dominion is the next piece, and this is just the beginning of what I think is going to be a larger news piece as it progresses. But that large news piece is people are going back into active production. So Jurassic World Dominion is going back into production. They're trying to go back into production in the UK at Pinewood Studios. According to an official release from Pinewood Studios, the negotiations are back underway for that production to go forward. They just got to, you know, figure out what hoops they got to jump through, so forth and whatnot. That is what we've got there. Next, we're talking about Guillermo Del Toro's Pinnochio, which... oh man, if you're not really intrigued by the thought of this property, then you don't know Guillermo Del Toro's work well enough, and I suggest you go work on that. But we do have word that Ewan McGregor, again, is doing the voice for Jiminy Cricket in Guillermo Del Toro's movie, and that is kind of awesome. No other real advancements on that front, so we're moving next to our final piece in movie news, and that is the Deathstroke movie. Well, hold your breath, because it's not exactly what you're thinking of. Joe Manganiello is not associated with this piece. This is actually an animated Deathstroke movie called Deathstroke Knights... where'd it go? Deathstroke Knights and Dragons, the movie. So it's kind of a long two-subtitled thing. But it's animated. It looks like it's the same animation from the CW show. Freaking great. It is going to be R-rated, so we're going to see all of the blood, guts, and language that we deserve in a Deathstroke movie, and there is a trailer for it. You can go check the link below. Now we've got some gaming stuff to talk about. We have a little bit. We're talking first about Apex Legends. Apex Legends is getting crossplay. So, also attached to this announcement, and apparently launching at approximately the same time as the crossplay, is a Steam version of Apex Legends, because right now it is only available on Xbox and PlayStation, and a Switch version of Apex Legends. So presumably the crossplay will be between all 4 versions of the game. No specifics as to how the crossplay will work, if it'll be like Mortal Kombat where you can only do crossplay in certain modes, or if it'll be like Fortnite where you can do crossplay whenever you want. No real word, but it is happening this fall. Again, no specifics on the date for any of this, the Steam launch, the Switch launch, or the crossplay launch, but they are all happening approximately the same time in the fall. Next, we are talking about, this one's actually really cool. It's called Endeavor RX. This is a game that you can only get through a prescription from your doctor. So the FDA is now prescribing this game for children with ADHD. They have done all of the clinical trials that a regular drug would require to get approval from the FDA. Now this video game has that same approval for treatment for ADHD again. So people like me, when I was a kid, could have played a video game to help with our ADD or ADHD, whatever. So it is developed by Achille Interactive. And honestly, it just sounds like a pretty in-depth platformer. Like there's a little bit more depth than, say, just a Mario Brothers, but still, it's kind of an awesome step in the direction of legitimizing, even more so, because honestly, in the minds of most people anymore, video games are a legitimate form of entertainment. So this is just furthering that cause in all of the right ways. So that is all we have in gaming. Now let's talk a little bit of comic books, and we actually have a bit more comic books than usual. First up, we have a surprise from Robert Kirkman, because he just loves to do that kind of stuff. This surprise is another Walking Dead book. Cool. This one is a spin-off book, so it's not a continuation, even though that's what everybody really wants. But this one's a spin-off book on Negan. It's called Negan Lives. It's going to be a one-shot book. It's going to be 36 pages long, telling us a story of what happened to Negan after we lost him in Walking Dead issue number 174. and just kind of furthering the Negan story, kind of giving us a little bit more explanation of where everybody went and all the things that actually happened. This book is very unique in that there will be 0 digital release. You will only be able to get this book at a comic book store. You can't even order it to your house directly. You have to get it from a comic book store because all of the proceeds are going to local comic book shops. See music section, this is how you support your local outlets. This is the thing that you need to do. You do something to raise money for locals, give that money back to the locals, and everybody wins. All right, so off of my soapbox now. Next, we are talking about Free Comic Book Day, and it is no longer Free Comic Book Day or Free Comic Book Month even. We got the announcement that from Marvel that they're going to be doing all through the month of July. Well, actually, it's going to be Free Comic Book Summer. We're getting 3 months worth of releases. From July 15th through September 9th, there will be 5 books released for free in comic book shops, once again, so go to your local comic book shop and pick up some of the free books. It's going to be up to the comic book shop owner how they distribute the books. So maybe the first day of the week will be one book, and the next day of the week will be another book, or maybe they're going to take all the books and make them free immediately. If you don't already have a relationship with your local comic book shop owner, I guess, then you need to go create that relationship now because they need to know how many books they're going to be ordering. So, yes, awesome. And like I said, every week we'll see the release of 5 different books. Even DC is on this list, even though this is a Diamond distribution thing. They're the ones that created Free Comic Book Day, and DC and Diamond aren't really getting along these days, but we do still have at least one DC book in the release launch. You can go check out freecomicbookday.com to see the complete list of all the books and what week they will be released. So that is freaking awesome. And then our final piece in comic books has to do with Goosebumps. We are getting a new story with the, did I write it down? Fever Swamp. With the Fever Swamp. So Fever Swamp was an original 90s R.L. Stine book written in the series. This book is going to be not written by R.L. Stine, but is going to take place at Fever Swamp. It's going to be called Secrets of Fever Swamp. It is going to be a modernized kind of take on the R.L. Stine version. Super exciting. I didn't write down the release date because I'm dumb. It is going to be a 5-book arc, though, and IDW is who is going to be putting it out. So keep your eyes peeled for that. If more developments happen, I will fill in the rest of the details when we talk about that next time. Now we are into rumors. All right, rumors. Starting off the rumors, we have an update on the Clone Wars. According to this first set of rumors, we have the potential for Clone Wars characters to be coming back in another animated series. It will not be another Clone Wars. We already know Clone Wars is done. The final season was the final season. The Mandalorian War and all of that already happened, so that is the ground that we were supposed to be covering in Clone Wars. But there is a potential that we're going to be seeing a continuation series or a spin-off series. If they go with the spin-off series, according to the rumor, it will be focusing on Captain Rex. That is what we have on that one. Next one is not super nerdy in the traditional sense, but more in just the TV watching, I like funny things kind of sense. Letterkenny, one of my absolute favorite shows. Oh man, I love Letterkenny. Letterkenny is rumored to be releasing season 9 in July. We already know that we have at least 2 more seasons worth of material that Jared Keeso, the creator and showrunner and star of the show, we know he has approximately 2 more seasons worth of material to be launched. It's just a matter of when it's launched and if he can get the approval through Hulu and Crave TV to launch. So, but the rumor is we're getting it next month, and I'm super excited. Next, we're talking about Venom. We're apparently going to be seeing, if you want to believe the rumors, we're apparently going to be seeing Venom in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Now, that sounds a lot more exciting than it probably is, because the rumor says it's not Tom Hardy Venom. It's not even an actor in the Venom symbiote. It is just the Venom symbiote, because according to this rumor, we will be going to Clintar in the Guardians Volume 3 movie, and Clintar, as you know, is the planet made up entirely of Venom symbiotes. or of Venom, of symbiotes. So yeah, it's interesting that they're playing with the fact that Venom actually is part of the MCU, but we don't get Tom Hardy. We don't get all of the other cool stuff that's associated with the middle of the road kind of mixed medium or mixed message movie. Still awesome if you want to believe this rumor. Don't know if this one has a whole lot of legs. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like that. Pretty shaky ground. Speaking of shaky ground, let's talk about the Batman Arkham video game series one more time. We have another rumor that kind of circumvents the rumor we talked about last time. This rumor says that Rocksteady is, in fact, working on another Arkham game in the same universe. So you would have Bruce Wayne Batman under the cape and cowl. And it will be bigger, and it will be PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X launch. Reportedly, also according to this rumor, it's going to be a launch title for those two platforms. No word as to whether or not they're expecting it to be previous and new generation console or just the new generation console launch. Don't know. I honestly don't believe this rumor. This one does not hold a lot of water as far as I can see, because we have received official word from Rocksteady that they are not working on a Batman video game. Now, could they be keeping something very close to the chest? Could they be keeping secrets? Absolutely, that is 100% possible, but not super freaking likely. So that is what we have there. And then our final piece is actually another rumor, and another video game rumor, rather. And this video game rumor is also a Rocksteady rumor. This time the rumor says that Rocksteady is working on not a Batman game, but a Suicide Squad game. This one, I feel like, is much more plausible than the Batman Arkham game. This theoretically could still exist in the Arkham universe, but not be a proper Arkham game, so they wouldn't have been lying to us when they made that announcement. Also, would make sense why they were talking about using Superman, because we could get a cameo from Superman in a Suicide Squad game. That would not be out of the realm of possibilities. So this one, I feel like, holds much more water than the previous one, and that's what we got for rumors. Also, what we have for the episode. So what did I miss? What should we talk about in the next one? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to go deeper into the conversation, then jump over to the website, generallynerdy.net. You can find all of the freebies, all of the blogs, all of the episodes, everything up there for free. Again, generallynerdy.net. If you want the paid content, patreon.com/generallynerdy is the place to get that. There is back episodes of the audio podcast. If you want to listen while you're going to work or what have you, then you can get those up on the Patreon, patreon.com/generallynerdy. Bunch more content up there. Don't have time to list it all. If you're falling behind in your nerd news and you want to catch up, then by now there should be 2 boxes below my face. Click or tap one of those to do that. Subscribe, do all of the things, guys. Thank you for joining me, nerds. Before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.